Hello, welcome to the biology classes of Dr. P. K. Verma. Now, in this session, we shall discuss a structure of DNA. DNA is a complex biopolymer discovered very lately in 1869. Frederick Miescher found presence of a complex molecule with very high molecular weight in the nucleus of pus cells, that is the WBC, and because of unknown nature, he gave it the name nuclein. Later on, Fischer found that nuclein contains two types of nitrogen heterocyclic compounds. One was named as purine and another pyrimidine. By chance, the purine is larger molecule than pyrimidine. Kossel 1900 extended the work and found two types of purines, adenine and guanine, and two types of pyrimidine, cytosine and thymine. For this discovery, he was awarded Nobel Prize in 1910. Levin further extended the work. He hydrolyzed nuclein by dilute hydrochloric acid and found presence of a pentose sugar, deoxyribose, and phosphoric acid. He immediately could understand how these three constituents are linked together. These two are the molecules of adenine and these two are the molecules of pyrimidine. Now, on the first carbon of pentose sugar, the purine and pyrimidine become attached by forming a nucleoside bond. Purine becomes attached by 9th position and pyrimidine by 3rd position. The phosphate becomes attached to the 5th carbon of sugar and forms nucleotide. So in a nucleotide, phosphate, sugar, nitrogen base, thymine or guanine, anything. Here is the pentose sugar and its first carbon is here. The pyrimidine molecule number is counted like this: 1, 2, 3. So 1, 3 nucleoside bond is formed with pyrimidine. And here the number is counted in opposite way: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So purine forms 1 and 9 nucleoside bond. Sugar and nitrogen base together form nucleoside, and when phosphate is attached to the nucleoside, it becomes nucleotide. In this way, 4 different nitrogen bases form 4 types of nucleosides and 4 types of nucleotides. Phosphate sugar and adenine forms deoxyadenylic acid or deoxyadenosine monophosphate. Similarly, guanine forms deoxyguanylic acid or deoxyguanosine monophosphate. The cytosine forms deoxycytidylic acid or the deoxycytidine monophosphate, not cytosine monophosphate, it is cytidine monophosphate. And similarly, thymine forms thymidine monophosphate. Deoxythymidylic acid or deoxythymidine monophosphate. These nucleotides serve as units of nucleic acid and they become linked together. This phosphate will become attached to this ribose, this phosphate will attach to this ribose and this phosphate with this ribose, and in this way thousands of nucleotides become linked together and form a polymer, the polydeoxyribonucleotide chain, by forming sugar phosphate diester bonds or phosphate sugar diester bond. In this chain, every nucleotide has one unreacted hydrogen, the active hydrogen, and therefore each nucleotide acts as a monobasic acid. The large number of nucleotides in a DNA chain makes it a strong acidic, and therefore Levin suggested the name deoxyribonucleic acid. Now for a long period, no work was done on DNA, but in 1944, when it was proved that DNA is genetic material, further research started. Chargaff isolated DNA from various sources, a number of viruses, a number of bacteria, fungi, plants, and animals. He studied the percentage amount of molar concentrations or molar activities of the 4 nitrogen bases, adenine, cytosine, guanine, and thymine. It was surprising that the amount of thymine and adenine were equal, and similarly the amount of cytosine and guanine were equal. So, when we add them together, A plus G, that is total purine, is equal to T plus C, that is total pyrimidine. A numerical problem is asked every alternate year in NEET examination. For example, when it is said that adenine has 23% amount, how much amount the thymine, cytosine or guanine is there? So here A plus G is 50%, A is 23, G should be 27. Now A equal to T, so T is 23% and G equal to C, so C is 27%. So this problem is very easy and can be solved within 10 seconds. Here it is shown that thymine forms 2 hydrogen bonds with adenine. Cytosine forms 3 hydrogen bonds with guanine. What does it mean? When the amount of A is equal to T and C is equal to G, there must be some chemical relation, some bond relation between them. Now, A can form bond with T by formation of 2 hydrogen bonds. G can form bond with C by formation of 3 hydrogen bonds. And it is possible only when A faces T or T faces A, G faces C or C faces J. Now this face-to-face relation suggests that DNA should have 2 strands and these are held together by formation of hydrogen bonds. A of one strand faces T on the other, G on the one strand faces C on the other. So such base complementation by hydrogen bond formation is possible only when there are 2 strands of DNA double helix and A of one strand faces T on the other and likewise G on one strand faces C of the other. So it was Chargaff who at first suggested that DNA is double-stranded. In his study, Chargaff found that the virus 5X174 has no base equivalence. A is not equal to T, G is not equal to C. So he said that these viruses must be single-stranded. Later on, 3 more viruses S13, F1 and M13 was found that had single-stranded DNA. Chargaff also compared AT by GC ratio. He found that in eukaryotes, AT by GC ratio is always more than 1. That is, the amount of AT is more than GC. But in prokaryote, the ratio may be less than 1 as well as more than 1. For example, I have taken the example from the table given by Chargaff himself. The virus herpes simplex has AT by GC ratio 0.36. Bacteria Micrococcus lysodictycum has 0.39 and Mycobacterium tuberculosis has 0.42. So these 3 are the example having less than 1 AT by GC ratio. E. coli K13 contains equal amount, so the ratio is 1. Diplococcus pneumoniae has 1.59, very high ratio, and Ramibacterium ramosum has 2.32. It is the highest ratio recorded so far. In human body, different tissues have different AT by GC ratio in the range 1.52 to 1.62. So in spite of all these works, all these findings, we just came to know that DNA is double-stranded. But how the DNA actually looks, what is its shape and dimension, was not known till 1951. This will be studied in the next session. Thank you.